just you and I.
How's it going, guys? Public Safety Network here. I decided to do a video. I've been talking to a lot of people I know, and a lot of them are actually starting to kind of want to move on to different jobs, and so they've looked at doing security. And so after talking with them, I was able to kind of create a list of the top 5 things I believe that you should think about when you're deciding to join security and finding the right security job for you. Everyone knows security is a vast industry, and so these kind of 5 are what I feel would probably be the most important when looking for the right job. And so starting with number 1, it's going to be, what type of security do you want to do? Security is a vast industry. There's every type of security you can think of. Most companies have security. So what type are you looking to do? Are you looking to do construction sites? Are you looking to do apartments? Are you looking to do government work? Are you looking to do executive protection, armored trucks, whatever? Knowing what you want to do is probably actually the most important thing you need to know before joining the security field. By deciding what type of security you're open to doing will help a lot in finding the right company for you, because not every company does everything. There are a lot of companies that maybe specialize. They may do government work, or they may specialize in doing multi-housing. So it's up to you to kind of research companies and find out, what do they specialize in. And so that's probably the first step. In all honesty, before even worrying about getting a security license or anything like that, deciding what you want to do. The next one that's really important is, what is your pay range? Everyone kind of has a different mindset about what they expect when it comes to pay. I'm going to give you, as I mentioned in previous videos, guys, if you're coming into this industry with no experience, no certifications outside your guard card, really nothing to offer than any of your other standard entry-level guards, then in all honesty, I wouldn't expect much above minimum wage. You may be able to find a company that starts out maybe $1 or $2 more, but don't expect a lot, guys. The security industry, it's a lot to do with, like most industries, it's about certifications, it's about continuing education, it's about how many years experience do you have in the field. These are all things that you need to consider when applying for jobs. If you're a guy who's maybe been in the industry a while, or you may have some other specialized background, whether you were military, whether you were law enforcement, those are all things to factor in when you're looking for jobs. A lot of security jobs, in all honesty, don't pay super well. Where you tend to find the most money is either working directly for a government agency in their security department, or working as a government contractor. What I will tell you, though, when it comes to most government contractors, a lot of them are very keen on hiring ex-military, ex-law enforcement, and the reason for that is because the training is not so much important, it's more just getting them into the flow of how they do things at that particular job. The tactics and the training a lot of times is very similar to what they used to do, so they really don't need to be brought up to speed, whereas if you have someone you're taking who's done security pretty much their whole life, or even maybe just a few years, and bringing them to that high level of security, it's a bit of a distance, and so a lot of times they like to bring people in that are already kind of familiar with the way that procedure runs. So what I'm going to tell you guys is, be realistic with your expectations. Don't, even when it comes to experience, guys, your job is also going to dictate a lot of times how much money you're going to make. Don't go thinking you're going to be working like a construction site where you just walk around an empty construction site and be expected to be paid $20 an hour. I mean, the job may be out there somewhere. I've never personally seen it, but go with real expectations and what you expect to make. If you have more to offer a company, explain that in the interview process, and explain to them why you're worth more than what they're maybe offering. And and honestly, it may work, it may not. And a lot of times, sometimes you may have to turn down jobs. So it's pretty much whatever you're comfortable with taking and whatever your realistic expectation is. The second thing you need to consider is your availability. Most places security is 24/7, guys. A lot of places will have 24/7 security, which means they need to cover days, swings, and night shifts. Realistically, when you're starting out in security, you're most likely going to start on night shift. That's just kind of the gimme of it. If you're looking to do a 9 to 5 or with the weekends off and holidays, this isn't the industry for you guys. I mean, those shifts probably do exist, but they're usually going to go to senior guys who have been doing this type of work for a while and have probably been with the company for a while. So, I mean, these are all things that you kind of need to factor in if you're willing to work nights or if you're willing to work swing shift. And be honest with it in the interview process. Don't lie in your interview and say you're comfortable with working any shift, and then you really aren't. And then when push comes to shove and they offer you the job, you're like, well, I actually can't work, these days, or I can't work these hours. I've seen it happen even where I work now, where we've hired guys who come in, they say in the interview process that they're comfortable working, any shift, and then they a lot of times get assigned a night shift, and they're like, well, I don't want to work nights, and they quit in training. And so that was just a waste of everyone's time. It was a waste of resources. And, honestly, all it does is just hurt. It hurts the company, it hurts the department, and, it hurts everybody, because, that person we were banking on making it through isn't now. And so now we're left with empty spots. Tip number 4, guys, is you also need to decide what is the main reason that you're getting into this. Are you looking to maybe make a step into law enforcement? Are you looking to maybe move up the chain and maybe become a supervisor, manager, director of security? Are you looking to possibly start your own company, or is this just kind of a job for you where you're looking more to, like, I'm a student, I need something that it's pretty flexible with scheduling and stuff like that? And I mean, for the most part, there's no wrong reason to get into security other than being a cop wannabe. I think that's probably one of the only reasons I can see where we don't want you in this industry, because you make us look bad. If you're planning on maybe moving up the chain where you want to become a supervisor or a manager, whatever, you may want to look into bigger companies. You don't have to go with the really big ones like U.S. Security or G4S or Securitas. You can look into medium-sized companies that maybe have a regional presence, and the reason that is because they have more spots. If you go, no knocking mom and pop companies, but a lot of times if you want to move up the chain, they may only have 2 or 3 supervisors for the whole company and maybe 1, maybe 2 managers. And so if that's the case, it may take a while for you to move up. So if you're looking for more of the I want to promote up the chain type thing, looking at medium to large companies is probably going to be your best bet. Now, if you're looking to start your own company, maybe working for a mom and pop shop is your best option. You can learn how to run all aspects of the company. You learn how to do payroll. You learn how to do scheduling. You learn how to do, how to conduct interviews when you're hiring new personnel. All really important things that you need to know when running your own company. I've known a few guys that have run their own companies in the past, and they said there was a lot of good aspects to it. There's a lot of bad aspects to it, but only you can make that determination. If you're doing this just as a job while you're in school, there's really not a whole lot of advice I can give you. Pretty much what I can tell you is you're going to want to look for a security job that's pretty much, you're going to be in a sit-down post, watching cameras, stuff like that. Not very active posts. That's just the honesty about it. And then for the guys that, are looking to make a step up into law enforcement, the biggest thing I can tell you about this industry, guys, is your reputation with the local law enforcement can make or break your career. If the local law enforcement or the county law enforcement know you as the dickhead security guard that pretty much is a wannabe and that he just messes up everything and he calls you for no reason, or he steps outside the boundary of what he's supposed to be doing, that's going to hurt you a lot, because a lot of times when you maybe go apply for that department or one of the sister agencies, they're going to know who you are, and they honestly might pass on you. But the same with the opposite, guys. If you make good with your local law enforcement, they find you useful, you're helpful, that could also help you, because then you have references for when you decide, hey, I'm gonna go apply for this department. I know this guy, and I know this guy, and I know this guy. It can help you guys. As much as law enforcement is about finding qualified candidates, a lot of times it's who you know as well. It's not the only thing. But I know plenty of guys who have gotten hired on with departments, not because they weren't qualified. I mean, they were definitely qualified, but it's because they knew people. They knew people, especially higher up on the chain, that were kind of able to help push them through the process. He said it's like that in any industry, and security and law enforcement are really no different. And then the last tip, guys, probably one that gets overlooked the most, is what does the company have to offer? And I'm not talking about benefits, and I'm not talking about pay. I'm talking about how is this company going to help you progress? Do they have a training package? Do they have additional training or certifications you can get? Do they have maybe tuition reimbursement where you can go to a university and get a college degree? What do they have to offer? A lot of the bottom of the barrel companies, and there's plenty of them where I live, offer nothing else. It's the basic guard course, and you're really not going to get anything else out of it. They're pretty much paying the bare minimum. They're doing warm bodies. They're not going to do anything extra above and beyond. These are the kind of companies that pick up the contracts that nobody wants because it's easy money. And then you have other companies. You see this a lot more with in-house security versus contract. A lot of times they have their own in-house training programs or training academies. There's a security company where I live that actually has a training academy for their where they teach them, handcuffing, baton, OC spray, taser, and then they have a FAT system and things like that help the guards become better. And they do that. And they not only offer it to their own guards, they also offer it to other security companies as well. And so that's something you look at. Or even if there's security academies popping up all over the place, or even with the boom of the tactical industry. I mean, there are plenty of schools that offer advanced training for not only law enforcement but for security agencies. I've worked for companies that have done that. They've worked out a couple $100 in order to send their guards to advanced training. That's a kind of company that I want to work for. But it's all up to you guys. You guys need to do the research, and you guys need to find out what exactly the security company has to offer you. When it comes to working for someone, it's a give and take. You have stuff to offer them, they have stuff to offer you. But that's about all I have time for, guys. I really hope you enjoyed the video. I really hope this helps somebody out when they get into the industry. And if you have any questions, you go and comment, like, subscribe. The more likes and subscribes and views I get, the more of these I'm going to do. So thanks, guys, for watching, and I hope you have a good day.